better late than never, I suppose. The Secret Service head, or at least the former Secret Service head, Kimberly Cheatle, had to be grilled in front of Congress, and that took place on Monday. And you could kind of see that the writing was on the wall in the aftermath of that, given the fact that, both parties skewered Cheatle, and in an incredibly rare occurrence, just proving the old axiom that even a broken clock is right twice a day, AOC even skewered this melting wax candle, so you knew that time was running short for Cheatle. The House committee skewers Secret Service Director for not answering major questions on the Trump assassination attempt. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle was skewered by a visibly frustrated House Oversight Committee on Monday after she said she took responsibility for security failures by saying, we couldn't put anybody up there because it was too hot on that day, or there was a sloped roof. There's a lot of stupid excuses, but taking accountability, well, I guess in the female mind, that's taking accountability. Cheatle, who was subpoenaed to testify, did not provide clear answers when committee members asked her about whether the Secret Service had secured the building the gunman fired from and how he gained access to the roof. I'm not going to get into specifics of that day, mostly because you can't, because your records, well, especially about the radio communications, the Secret Service doesn't have any radio communications from the 13th. Can you imagine that? There was a plan in place to provide overwatch, and we're still looking into responsibilities, but I take responsibility. What do you take responsibility of? Shut up. It prompted committee members of both parties to tell her to resign over her incompetence, her lame excuses, and her lack of awareness to what they called basic questions. You are full of crap today, Nancy Mace said, slamming Cheatle for dodging questions and being completely dishonest. Well, I mean, that's very much the case. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. Mace announced that the House floor Monday night that she plans to file articles to impeach Cheatle for high crimes and misdemeanors and for failing to faithfully discharge her duties. Mace referenced Monday's hearing in the legislation and said she is calling on the resolution as privileged, meaning a vote on the measure must happen within 2 legislative days. That will not be necessary. I just want to get through a couple of the other highlights from this rather thorough grilling. Representative Greg Stube, wrote on X that he planned to introduce impeachment articles against Cheatle, saying after Monday's disastrous appearance before the Oversight Committee and Cheatle's refusal to resign, that we have no choice but to impeach. And you would think that, there would be a far more comprehensive set of answers from somebody who used to work at PepsiCo. Though impeachment has historically been pursued against presidents or federal judges, all elected officials can be impeached. Like it says there, the clause is applicable to all federal officials. Representative Anna Paulina Luna also told reporters Monday that she planned to draft the resolution to hold Cheatle in inherent contempt, meaning that Cheatle could be fined or taken into custody by the House Sergeant at Arms. But she was only simply speaking to the House Oversight Committee. She never got a chance to get grilled by senators, which, if we're going to be taking a look at the two bodies, normally does better inquiries. At least you get better sound bites out of those. And Josh Hawley apparently got whistleblower come forward to him. Whistleblowers tell me law enforcement personnel were in fact stationed to the roof the day of the Trump rally, but abandoned it, citing heat. Wow. They also saw law enforcement were supposed to be patrolling the building, but opted to stay inside instead. So what was all of that hullabaloo about a sloped roof? Yes, contrary to Director Cheatle's public statements about the safety of the sloped roof of the American Glass Research Building 6, one whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Secret Service planning for the event alleges that there was supposed to be law enforcement presence on the roof that day. In fact, the whistleblower alleges that at least one individual was specifically assigned to the roof for the duration of the rally, but this person abandoned his or her post due to the hot weather. Yes, the whistleblower further alleges that concern over the heat prompted law enforcement to forgo patrolling Building 6 and instead to station security personnel inside the building. And then you couldn't hear 3 separate occasions of that creep crawling on the roof. Couldn't hear that at all. To inform ongoing investigations, please respond to the following questions no later than July 26th, which, of course, will not be necessary, Director Cheatle, because she has resigned. She quits, okay? So I really hope that House takes this stuff seriously, okay? They were threatening her with fines, imprisonments, contempt, charges, all of that good stuff. especially in light of other revelations that rooftop body cam footage from the Trump assassination attempt shows a second person was detained, and the officers had pictures and videos of him on their phone before the shooting took place. Oh, so yeah, really gonna have a tough time shaking this whole "this was an inside job" stigma. Not because I think, it's like, oh, there was a second shooter that was no. This was sheer incompetence at the highest of levels, and somebody just going, yeah, okay, I'll just quit. I just can't do this job anymore. No. You got to hold this bitch accountable because, yeah, thankfully, Trump survived the event with just a new ear piercing, but Corey Comparator, he's dead. Two other people were critically wounded. Okay, if this was a fair and just system with the amount of incompetence, the sheer neglect for human life, I would say put her up on manslaughter charges. I would say put her up with reckless endangerment charges. There were certain other statements that she made in the lead up to her resignation that would also point her being civilly liable to a reckless disregard for human life. Lawsuits from those affected families. Oh no, don't just let her slink away into the night like Fauci and everybody else who robbed you of 2 years. Hold her accountable. The director of the U.S. Secret Service, Kimberly Cheatle, has resigned just a day after a contentious House hearing where members of both parties called for her to quit her job in the wake of the assassination attempt against Donald Trump at the Pennsylvania rally. Cheatle, who had served as Secret Service director since August of 2022, had called the attempt on Trump's life the Secret Service's most significant operational failure in decades. Yeah. And why she had to get pressed so hard for her to just go, yeah, I messed up. I got to take responsibility for this. And yeah, we got to find somebody else better to do this job. She told lawmakers at the hearing, while Republicans and Democrats indulged in a rare display of unity, that she would take full responsibility for the security lapses, right? But she also angered her interrogators by failing to answer some specific questions about the investigation into what exactly went wrong. And even with the questions that she did answer, she would later go on to contradict. In her resignation letter to staff, Cheatle said, "The Secret Service's solemn mission is to protect our nation's leaders and financial infrastructure. I could not do that as director." On July 13th, we fell short. I thought you were taking responsibility for this. We fell short on that mission. The scrutiny over the last week has been intense. Yeah, somebody died and a president just about got killed. It's been intense. Feel bad for me. And will continue to remain as our operational tempo increases. As your director, I take full responsibility for the security lapse. Let me just go ahead and run this back. We fell short. I take full responsibility. Shut your lying mouth, bitch, because nobody should be trusting the Secret Service moving forward. Not even the Secret Service trusts the Secret Service, because what are they doing out here? What are they trying to make stick? The Secret Service has asked the Trump campaign to stop holding outdoor rallies because, well, we can't do our job. If I was Trump, I would just make sure that I have the best private security available because, once again, it's that old saying that the government can't do anything better than the private sector. But I think that this is also twofold, in so much as I think that it could have been potentially an inside job due to incompetence, okay? I'm not changing my position like Kimberly Cheatle here halfway through a video. I think that this is planned, just like certain other event that transpired in the past short while. They don't want the optics of Trump at massive outdoor rallies, because one of the lingering images in my head prior to the 2020 election was the gigantic rally that Trump held. I think it was in Western Pennsylvania. I know it was in the Rust Belt somewhere where like 50,000 people turned out. There's people as far as the eye could see. It was an amazing sight. And it was a day or two before the election that he obviously lost, right? Well, 100%, just incompetence around the board over the past 4 years. But no, the most safe, most secure election of all time, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's why the incumbent isn't running again. But they just want to confine Trump to these little gymnasiums. They want him to appear to be not as popular as he used to be so they could go ahead and throw up their narrative that they have been prepping and seems to be sticking right now, especially with the leftists that are out there, which nobody really believes anyways, that Trump now all of a sudden, after years of saying that Biden is as sharp as a tack, even as recently as prior to the debate, that was a couple of weeks ago, he's as sharp as a tack. If you think that age is a problem, brother, you're just being a bigot. Now all of a sudden Trump's too old to run. Oh, okay, cool. But they have to resort to dirty tactics because you can't run Joe again, okay? There's rumors, there's certain claims that might be coming true maybe by the time that you see this video, maybe the next time that we talk, that Biden could be stepping down any moment now. I haven't heard any validity to this. It was just simply a rumor that I heard running around earlier on Tuesday that, yeah, with Joe's next address to the nation, he's going to be calling it a career, as he said in his letter that he released Sunday afternoon. I'll be addressing the nation and making my intentions more clear. Perhaps those intentions include not just anointing the Democrat nominee, but also appointing the first female president in United States history, because Joe, well, he's shambling, man. Okay, Joe Biden can barely walk. Something horrible has happened. It's not COVID. He's sick. It's all been one massive cover-up. Now, to be fair, okay, Benny Johnson, I think you're being just a little bit hyperbolic, because Joe, well, he's shambling the exact same way he has for a long time, okay? We could just let it run a little bit, I suppose, without any sound. But as you can see, the wind is pretty stiff, okay? It's a pretty stiff wind that it has right there, okay? And yeah, that's not any different than Joe Biden's gait has been over the past little while. He's also walking into the wind. And as somebody who lives in a very windy part of the world where you're, accustomed to being hit with a stiff wind like that 3 out of the 7 days of the week, it's going to throw you off balance a little bit. Joe Biden's he's over 6 feet tall, right? And unless he has rocks in his pockets, he's going to get pushed around a little bit by a strong wind, and then also being right next to Air Force One. It's going to be a little bit of a trouble for him. Stand upright. Now, this is also a guy who's tripped on more perpendicular platforms than Helen Keller. I'm not saying that his balance isn't completely shot. I'm just saying, let's not get too terribly conspiratorial. Let's just read the room for what it is. The Democrats know that Joe Biden isn't going to last through the next election cycle. They can't install him for any longer in this term. Them the breaks, okay? And they're going to be stuck, mostly due to a couple of policies that are holding them in place with Kamala, because the Biden-Harris war chest has a bunch of money in it, okay? A lot of money. Thanks to a couple of campaign finance laws, the only way that it can be moved from Biden's coffers is if it's also a part of Kamala Harris's coffers. Hence why they have to just go with Kamala. And they're astroturfing her popularity. Well, it doesn't really work with regular people because, well, let's just play this quick clip right here. And yeah, Chuck Schumer just had a humiliating Jeb Biden moment. And
so now that the process is played out from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to.
Oh my God. Nobody cares, bro. And I've seen, and likely you have too if you've been on social media over the past couple of days, just this really odd, very artificial looking campaign that people are excited to vote for Kamala, that Donald Trump is more shook to go up against somebody who is somehow less popular than Biden. Why would that be the case at all whatsoever? If you're a Trump supporter, you're ecstatic by this news because, at least there were some people that could buy into the narrative that Joe is this down-home, folksy, blue dog Democrat. You just don't get that with cackling Kamala. Look at the betting markets and just a 2/3 victory for Trump, okay? And then especially across all swing states. What's the closest one? Michigan? But Arizona's a runaway. Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, don't even call it a swing state at this point, bro. It is looking like a landslide because nobody wants Kamala. And you would think, okay, that's general populations, okay? But you could use this as a bellwether, right, for the Democrats. And you could go ahead with an eye to the future and think that, once some kids, get some life experience, they'll be able to come around to the Democratic Party. Well, you look specifically at the Zoomers that are out there, and I guess I'm still a part of that demographic. So Zoomers and millennials, yeah, Trump is beating the brakes off of her. But like a lot of people are saying, as Republicans, okay, as conservatives, as people who think that the brand of populism that Trump is providing, just simply carrying on from the Goldwaters, the Tea Party, the true America Firsters that are out there, don't think that blanket popularity is going to go ahead and translate to an establishment candidate. I could see that you can read those numbers in a bunch of different directions. That, yeah, guess what? The younger generation likes Trump. He's getting a lot of endorsements, and especially after what happened on the 13th. Trump is popular. Republicans, not so much. Because is that on that recent poll? Yeah. But no, there's other polls, and you could just pull those up, or we could pull up polls for days on end. Something that Kamala is very used to. But your blanket general ballot between Republican and Democrat, Republicans only have a +1 advantage. Politics have always been a cult of personality. Now it's just become ever more so. Trump being the popular candidate and Harris being what can happen to a party if they don't nominate the right person, if they take their base for granted. That's why I think that we're probably still in for some crazy stuff to happen. They're going to have to either fortify this completely and totally to a point of unbelievability, or they're going to have to do something drastic to try to ingratiate Harris to the public. Will that involve something with Biden? I don't necessarily want to say, but can just, simply theorize in my mind, get a really engaging vice president? Or is this going to be 2016, 2020 wrapped together, put on steroids, and it's going to become the most insufferable 8 months of our lives? I'm kind of thinking it's going to be the latter. So stay diligent, Trump supporters, because we have seen what the Democrats do when they get desperate, and at no point in time have I ever seen them backed in a corner harder. It's only going to get wilder from here. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.